It is now 2:32 p.m. and our recess has ended. It is possible that there are still a couple of committees that are meeting, and so I will wait till I can verify if committees are not meeting or not, and then we will restart. Now, if anybody has a vote change, they can do that, but you need to come up here. We're going to do it differently. You come up here and stand in front of the world and make your vote change.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Vote change for Davies, AB 1868 from no to yes.
Vote change for Grayson, AB.
Vote change, Assemblymember Davies, Assembly Bill 1869, no to aye. Correction, 1868, no to aye.
Vote change for Grayson, AB 99. Vote change from aye to not voting.
Vote change, Assemblymember Grayson, Assembly Bill 99, aye to not voting.
Hyde, vote change Dixon on AB 1868 from no to aye.
Vote change, Assemblymember Dixon, Assembly Bill 1868, no to aye.
And vote change for Tar from AB 179 from no to not voting.
Vote change, Assemblymember Taw, Assembly Bill 179, no to not voting.
Okay, apparently the committees have all completed their work, so we will go to item 51, AB 2735 by Assemblymember Lowenthal. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2375 by Assemblymember Lowenthal, on acrylated alcoholic beverages.
Assemblymember Lowenthal, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and the few members that are in the chamber. AB 2375, another crucial piece of the package of bills I'm carrying to address the ongoing and underreported epidemic of roofing. AB 2375 ensures that patrons of Type 48 licensed establishments, which are bars and nightclubs, have access to drink lids if they ask for a lid on their drink. Senate amendments narrow the scope of the bill, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowenthal. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Appears that every member present has voted for this bill, but we only have 21 members present. Apparently we have 22 members present. Members, please report to the floor so we can continue our work. Your colleagues who are presenting bills would appreciate you voting. Members, please report to the floor. So far, we have unanimous support for this bill, but it's only 25 members. Members, please report to the floor. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Members, please report to the floor. Your colleagues who have bills up would appreciate. We have a lot of work to do this afternoon, members. We have nearly unanimous support for this bill, but it's only 39 members, and we can't move a bill with 39. So members, please report to the floor. We're at 40, that's great. That means 40 people are still missing. Thank you. Clerk, please close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 41, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 52, AB 2446, Assemblymember Ortega by Assemblymember Berner. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2446 by Senator Ortega and others, and after reading to Medi-Cal.
Assemblymember Berner, you are recognized.
Good afternoon, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present AB 2446 on concurrence on behalf of my colleagues from San Leandro. which would provide medically necessary diapers through Medi-Cal for children 21 years and younger, as mandated by the Federal Early Periodic Screening, Diagnostic, and Treatment Program. Amendments in the Senate narrowed the bill to address cost concern. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Berner. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Members, please return to the floor. Not every vote will be a unanimous vote, so we need members on the floor. Members? All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 44, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 53, AB 2462 by Assemblymember Calderon. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2462 by Assemblymember Calderon and others, and naturally into energy.
Assemblymember Calderon, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2462 is back for concurrence. Senate amendments were technical. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Calderon. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 41, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Passed temporarily on file item 54. Passed temporarily on file item 55. Remember, when we pass, we're going to the back of the line, folks. Pass on file item 56. Pass temporarily on file item 57. Moving to file item 58, AB 2711 by Assemblymember Ramos. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2711 by Assemblymember Ramos, and naturally into pupil discipline.
Assemblymember Ramos, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2711 is back on concurrence with amendments taken in the Senate. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Ramos. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Members, we reconvened at 2:32 on the condition that you all would return. We're now 15 minutes past that, And we have about half of the assembly here. Members, please return to the floor. Out of respect to your colleagues, clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 42, noes 8. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 59, AB 2757 by Assemblymember Garcia. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2757 by Assemblymember Garcia and others, and act relating to economic development.
Assemblymember Garcia, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Members, please, AB 2757 establishes the Southeast California Economic Region. The bill is back for concurrence. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Garcia. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 46, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Passed temporarily on file item 60. Moving to file item 61, AB 2866 by Assemblymember Pellerin. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2866 by Assemblymember Pellerin and others, and act relating to pool safety.
Assemblymember Pellerin, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2866 is back for concurrence and Senate amendments. The bill will try to prevent the swimming pool tragedy at a daycare center in my district that resulted in the tragic deaths of 2 toddlers, Peyton Cobb and Lillian Hannon, from ever happening again by updating our pool safety standards. The bill has no opposition and no votes. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Pellerin. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes, ayes 47, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We're passing temporarily on item 62. Not because the author is not here, but because it was referred to local government earlier. Moving to file item 63, AB 2925 by Assemblymember Friedman. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2925 by Assemblymember Friedman and others, and act relating to post-secondary education.
Assemblymember Friedman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I am very proud to be presenting AB 2925, which is back from the Senate on concurrence. This bill is a top priority of the Legislative Jewish Caucus. It's received bipartisan support and has no votes. The amendments, and this is the bill that requires that DEI programs, if they are taught, include the top 5 groups that are experiencing the most hate crimes and discrimination in California. The amendments taken in the Senate clarify that nothing in the bill prohibits colleges from providing training on groups outside the top 5 most targeted groups, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Friedman. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. We'll close the roll and tally the votes, ayes 47, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 64, AB 3089 by Mr. Jones Sawyer. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3089 by Assemblymember Jones Sawyer and others, and relating to state government and making appropriation therefore.
Assemblymember Jones Sawyer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 3089, the Apology Act for the Perpetration of Gross Human Rights Violations and Crimes Against Humanity is back in the Assembly for concurrence. Senate amendments clarify the role of the Joint Rules Committee and the Department of General Services for the installation and maintenance of the plaque in the State Capitol building and make other technical changes. Additionally, and most importantly, language has been added to align the apology with the United Nations principles of reparatory apologies by specifically asking for forgiveness from victims. This bill has no opposition and has received bipartisan support. Members, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Jones Sawyer. Assemblymember Wilson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you to my colleague from the California Legislative Black Caucus and former chair for his work on this particular apology. This is a priority of our reparations package that we have brought forth this year, a multi-year effort to bring forth reparations to California in recognition of the stain that still exists from slavery in California and to tear down the systemic racism and discrimination that people of California, particularly Black Californians and descendants of slaves, have experienced here in California. So I strongly encourage your aye vote, as you have in the past on other reparations priority, and recognizing we on this floor through ACR 135 acknowledge the harms. And this is about making the apology. And it is extremely important that we make the apology and then move into action. With that, I respectfully encourage a strong aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Wilson. Assemblymember Joe Patterson, you are recognized.
Great, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to thank the author and the Legislative Black Caucus. I had a concern over the first iteration of this bill, and actually I had an opportunity to talk with the author and some of his staff, and some changes that I think were worked out were nice, and I really appreciate the work on that, and I'm looking forward to supporting it today. And for that, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, would you like to close, Mr. Jones Sawyer?
This has been a labor of love, and for my ancestors and for the rest of the members' ancestors, and for the Little Rock Nine. I think my grandmother, my grandfather will be extremely proud for what we are going to do today, because that is why they struggled back in 1957, so that I'd be able to, and we'd be able to move forward our people in a much more productive way. So I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Jones Sawyer. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 53, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Passed temporarily on file item 65. Moving to file item 66, AB 3275 by Assemblymember Soria. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3275 by Assemblymember Soria and others, and relating to healthcare coverage.
Assemblymember Soria, you are recognized.
Speaker and members, AB 3275 has been amended in the Senate, which requires plans to pay claims within 30 calendar days and adopt technical assistance from the Department of Managed Healthcare and California Department of Insurance. This bill has bipartisan support. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Soria. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 51, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 67, AB 3291, Committee on Human Services. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3291 by the Committee on Human Services and others, and relating to developmental services.
Assemblymember Lee, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Amendments taking the Senate address concerns from the Department of Developmental Services by allowing for more frequent succession planning discussions and clarifying when regional centers can offer assistance to individuals experiencing homelessness. This is a bipartisan bill and has received 0 no votes. Respectfully ask your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Lee. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 53, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 68, AB 1808 by Assemblymember Nguyen. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1808 by Assemblymember Stephanie Nguyen and others, now relating to childcare.
Assemblymember Nguyen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is back on concurrence. Amendments are technical and clarifying in nature. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Nguyen. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 58, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 69, AB 1888 by Dr. Arambula. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1888 by Assemblymember Arambula and others, and act relating to employment.
Dr. Arambula, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 1888 is back on concurrence. Labor trafficking dehumanizes and exploits vulnerable people. This bill will ensure that the state prioritizes labor trafficking victims through a more efficient and comprehensive enforcement of existing labor laws. This bill has received bipartisan support and is sponsored by the Department of Justice. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Dr. Arambula. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. We'll close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 58, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 70, AB 2024 by Assemblymember Pacheco. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2024 by Assemblymember Pacheco and others, an act relating to domestic violence.
Member Pacheco, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Today I rise to present AB 2024, which is back on concurrence. The amendments are minor and technical in nature. So with these very shortful talking points, very mindful, very respectful, some might say very demure, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Seeing and hearing no further debate, but lots of mumbling, happy mumbling, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 58, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in.
Apparently her interim wasn't here earlier.
Members, please join me on behalf of the Majority Leader in welcoming her summer intern, Sia Mishra. Her hard work and dedication and service to the state of California is appreciated. The Assembly wishes her the best for her senior year of high school, and she has family in the gallery as well. Welcome. Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Moving to file item 71, AB 2033 by Assemblymember Reyes. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2033 by Assemblymember Reyes and others, and act relating to public post-secondary education.
Assemblymember Reyes, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2033 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments incorporate cost-cutting suggestions from the UC and CSU. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Reyes. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote size. 52, no, 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 72, AB 2038 by Assemblymember Quirk Silva. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2038 by Assemblymember Quirk Silva and others, and act relating to parks.
Assemblymember Quirk Silva, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. Assembly Bill 2038 is back on concurrence, which ensures that eligible entities offering outdoor programs can access state lands and waters without additional fees or permits. Senate amendments added a co-author and are technical in nature, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Quirk Silva. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote size. 54, no, 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 73, AB 2096 by Assemblymember Petrie Norris. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2096 by Assemblymember Petrie Norris and others, and act relating to civil actions.
Assemblymember Petrie Norris, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2096 is back from the Senate on concurrence. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote size. 58, no, 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 74, AB 2138 by Assemblymember Ramos. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2138 by Assemblymember Ramos and act relating to peace officers.
Assemblymember Ramos, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2138 is back on concurrence and moves us a step closer to the MMIP crisis. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote size. 57, no, 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 75, AB 2181 by Assemblymember Gibson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2181 by Assemblymember Gibson and act relating to juvenile court school pupils.
Assemblymember Gibson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. Assembly Bill 2181 is back on concurrence from the Senate. This bill has enjoyed bipartisan support with no votes. I respectfully ask for an aye vote on 2181.
Thank you, Assemblymember Gibson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote size. 54, no, 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item AB 2271, Assemblymember Ortega by Assemblymember Bonta. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2271 by Assemblymember Ortega and others, and act relating to St. Rose Hospital and declaring urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Assemblymember Bonta, you are recognized.
Thank you, Speaker. On behalf of Assemblymember Ortega, AB 2271 is back on concurrence. It's an urgent bill that will help to avoid the closure of a distressed hospital in Assembly District 20. Amendments taken in the Senate were technical. ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bonta. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. This is a 54 vote bill, members. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. "54 vote bill, 55 votes. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 55, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 55, noes 0 on concurrence in the Senate amendments. Moving to file item 77, AB 2330. Mr. Holden, clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2330 by Assemblymember Holden and others, an act relating to fish and wildlife.
Assemblymember Holden, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2330 is back from the Senate on concurrence. Amendments in the Senate were clarifying and technical. The bill passed off the Senate floor 39-0. I respectfully ask for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We have a little technical challenge here, so it's kind of the equivalent of this blue screen of death for our board, but it's back. Thank you. Passed temporarily on file item 78. The author is not here. Moving to file item 79, AB 2407 by Assemblymember Hart. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2407 by Assemblymember Hart and others, an act relating to public post-secondary education.
Mr. Hart, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2407 is back on concurrence. This bill requires the state auditor to perform audits of California's public colleges to prevent and address sexual harassment on campus. Senate amendments address the California Community College's unique organizational structure. The bill is support, and I respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Hart. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 57, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item number 80, AB 2434 by Assemblymember Grayson. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2434 by Assemblymember Grayson and others, an act relating to healthcare coverage.
Mr. Grayson, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, members, AB 2434 permits the American Council of Engineering Companies Life and Health Trust to continue offering large group health insurance policies to employees of ACEC California members beyond 2024. Senate amendments were technical and expanded the reporting requirements. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. We'll close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 57, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 81, AB 2469, the Committee on Emergency Management. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2469 by the Committee on Emergency Management and others, an act relating to emergency services.
Assemblymember Rodriguez, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. As Chair of the Emergency Management Committee, I rise to present AB 2469, which is back on concurrence. The Senate amendments adjust sunset dates for EMAC and adjust it for CWMP. This bill enjoyed consent throughout the process. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 57, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 82, AB 2538 by Assemblymember Grayson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2538 by Assemblymember Grayson, an act relating to public employment.
Mr. Grayson, you are recognized.
Speaker and members, AB 2538 would permit CAL FIRE to authorize firefighters hired as permanent intermittent employees to serve longer than 9 months in an consecutive 12-month period. Senate amendments added a sunset and reporting requirements. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 83, AB 2621 by Mr. Gabriel. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2621 by Assemblymember Gabriel and others, an act relating to law enforcement training.
Mr. Gabriel, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to present AB 2621, which is back on concurrence. This bill requires law enforcement trainings on hate crimes to include education on the role that gun violence restraining orders, or GVROs, can play in preventing hate-based violence. This measure is sponsored by Everytown for Gun Safety and supported by a diverse coalition that includes district attorneys, public defenders, and Equality California. It has 0 no votes and 0 opposition. Respectfully request your aye vote on AB 2621.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 60, noes 0. Measure Senate amendments concurred in. Moving to file item 84, AB 2645 by Assemblymember Lackey. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2645 by Assemblymember Lackey and others, an act relating to transportation.
Mr. Lackey, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members, for allowing me to present AB 2645. It's back on concurrence, and I would greatly appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lackey. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 58, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 85, AB 2821 by Assemblymember Grayson. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2821 by Assemblymember Grayson, an act relating to post-secondary education.
Mr. Grayson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2821 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments were technical in nature. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 59, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 86, AB 2929 by Assemblymember Juan Carrillo. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2929 by Assemblymember Juan Carrillo and others, an act relating to foster care.
Assemblymember Carrillo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to present AB 2929, a measure that has come back to the Assembly on concurrence. The amendments taken in the Senate are technical and clarifying in nature. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Carrillo. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 62, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 87, AB 2983 by Assemblymember Rodriguez. Clerk will read. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2983 by Assemblymember Rodriguez and others, an act relating to fire safety.
Mr. Rodriguez, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present AB 2983, which is back on concurrence. This bill ensures a meaningful collaboration between the wildfire mitigation experts and the insurance policy regulators so that our federal and state mitigation investments effectively protect communities and make wildfire insurance more available and affordable. This bill passed both houses unanimously, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 60, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 88, AB 2992 by Assemblymember Nguyen. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2992 by Assemblymember Stephanie Nguyen, an act relating to real estate.
Assemblymember Nguyen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is back on concurrence. Amendments are technical and clarifying in nature. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 58, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 89, AB 3012 by Assemblymember Grayson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3012 by Assemblymember Grayson, an act relating to local government.
Assemblymember Grayson, you are recognized.
Speaker, members, AB 3012 is a bill that will help make information on impact fees clearer and more accessible. Senate amendments were minor and technical in nature. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 59, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 90, AB 3108 by Mr. Jones Sawyer. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3108 by Assemblymember Jones Sawyer, an act relating to business.
Assemblymember Jones Sawyer, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 3108 is back in the Assembly for concurrence. This bill will allow better prosecution of predatory mortgage lending by clarifying that lenders who deceive and misguide vulnerable Californians are committing mortgage fraud. Specifically, AB 3108 clarifies that a broker or a loan originator is committing mortgage fraud if they cause a borrower to sign a commercial loan or bridge loan with knowledge that the loan is inappropriate for the borrower. Senate amendments added specific specificity to ensure that the bill is narrowly tailored and structured the bill in order to avoid unintentionally narrowing the existing code section. And on a personal note, I did this bill because some predatory lenders went after my mother and took her home in a predatory scheme. This bill has no opposition and has received bipartisan support throughout the Senate and the Assembly. Members, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Jones Sawyer. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 60, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 91, AB 3245 by Assemblymember Joe Patterson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3245 by Assemblymember Joe Patterson, an act relating to healthcare coverage.
Mr. Patterson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 3245 would make sure that colorectal cancer screening continues. Took some small amendments in the Senate and respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We'll pass temporarily on file item 92. The author is not present. Moving to file item 93, AB 52. Clerk will read. By Mr. Grayson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 52 by Assemblymember Grayson and others, an act relating to taxation to take effect immediately, tax levy.
Member Grayson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 52 seeks to incentivize long-term investments and fuel expansion in California's manufacturing industry by providing a state tax credit for the local sales tax paid by manufacturers for qualified equipment purchases. Senate amendments added a trigger that would only enact the credit upon appropriation. This bill has bipartisan support and has had 0 no votes. With that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 94, AB 274 by Assemblymember Bryan. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 274 by Assemblymember Bryan, an act relating to an act relating to public social services.
Thank you. Mr. Bryan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. AB 274 is back on concurrence. Right now, for students who are struggling at our universities, their need-based aid is not counted as income. That would then be used to reduce the amount of CalFresh and CalWorks benefits they're entitled to. But their merit-based scholarships are used to discount the kind of need-based eligible programs that they would otherwise be eligible for. It's important that we uplift our students everywhere we possibly can. This bill has had no votes and bipartisan support. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 58, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We're going to pass temporarily on file item 95. Author is not present. We're going to file item 96, AB 359 by Mr. Holden. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 359 by Assemblymember Holden and others, an act relating to pupil instruction.
Mr. Holden, you are recognized.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker and members, today I rise to present Assembly Bill 359, Dual Enrollment 2.0, which is back for concurrence after passing the Senate with unanimous support. The amendments in the Senate address concerns raised by the administration and dual enrollment advocates. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will read. All those vote who desire to vote. I'm sorry, clerk will open the roll. She already read. Anyway, she did that. Thank you. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 54, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 97, AB 457 by Assemblymember Aguiar Curry. Passed temporarily? Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. My apologies. That was, maybe we'll get that tomorrow or some other time, or not. Sometimes it's just a mystery. Passed temporarily on file item 98. Moving to file item 99, AB 650. You are ready. Okay. My notes said not. So anyway, moving to file item 98, AB 637 by Dr. Jackson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 637 by Assemblymember Jackson, an act relating to air pollution.
Assemblymember Jackson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much. This bill is on concurrence to help our fleet owners meet our state's clean air standards.
That sounds good.
Please vote aye.
On concurrence of Senate
On
amendments.
concurrence.
Yeah, that too. Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will read. No, the clerk will open the roll. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 49, noes 1. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 99, AB 653 by Assemblymember Reyes. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 653 by Assemblymember Reyes and others, an act relating to housing.
Assemblymember Reyes, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate amendments are a result of negotiations with the administration. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Reyes. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote size. 50 noes, 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We are now going to move to Senate third reading. Moving to file item 203, SB 1277, Senator Stern by Mr. Ramos. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1277 by Senator Stern and others, and after laying to pupil instruction.
Sorry if I caught you off guard.
All good, Mr. Speaker.
You are recognized.
SB 1277 establishes the Teachers Collaborative Genocide Education, which will equip educators with the expertise to teach this complex subject matter. It focuses not only on the Holocaust, but genocide that has taken place not only here in the United States, but abroad. This bill is a support bill, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Ramos. Assemblymember Gabriel, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too rise in support of this Jewish Caucus Priority Bill. I want to thank our colleague from the Inland Empire for his leadership and support here. I just want to note for folks that for 5 years now, the state of California has partnered with the Teachers Collaborative. And thanks to additional funding this year, by 2027, we will train 8,500 teachers through professional development workshops serving every school district in California that serves students in grades 6 through 12. As was mentioned, this collaborative is led by some of the foremost experts in education on the Armenian, Rwandan, Native American, Cambodian, Guatemalan, and Uyghur genocides, as well as the Holocaust. Thank you, and respectfully request your aye vote on SB 1277.
Thank you, Assemblymember Gabriel. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the vote size. 56 noes, 0. Measure passes. Going to pass temporarily on file item 204. Pass temporarily on file item 205. Moving to file item 206. Senator Leon by Mr. Hart. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1304 by Senator Limon, and after laying to oil and gas.
Mr. Hart, you are recognized.
Thank you, Speaker and colleagues. I'm pleased to present Senate Bill 1304 on behalf of Senator Limon. SB 1304 strengthens transparency in the approval process for an aquifer exemption for an underground oil and gas injection well. The bill requires CalGEM and the State Water Resources Control Board to hold a public meeting and report on the validity of the exemption proposal. The report must include an analysis of all potential conduits and be subject to a 45-day public comment period. The State Water Board must then hold an additional public meeting to consider whether the exemption proposal meets the criteria for submission to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. SB 1304 will ensure the public has important information on potential impacts of oil and gas production to their drinking water. Thank you. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Hart. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 41, noes 13. Measure passes. Moving to file item 207, SB 1315, Senator Archuleta by Mr. McCarty. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1315 by Senator Archuleta, an act relating to school accountability.
Mr. McCarty, you are recognized.
Thank you. This is a very needed bill from our senator from Los Angeles, Archuleta. We all hear from our school districts they have too much paperwork and reports to do and not enough time to spend on education in the classroom. This measure would have the Department of Education assess the total number of reports that school districts have to compile and find ways to reduce paperwork, create more efficiencies, and focus on our kids' learning. Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 59, no 0. Measure passes. We're moving now to file item 209, SB 1340, Senator Smallwood Cuevas by Mr. Calra. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1340 by Senator Smallwood Cuevas, an act relating to discrimination.
Mr. Calra, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present SB 1340. This bill has been amended substantively and specifically so that it only allows for local agencies to investigate and bring enforcement actions under the Fair Employment and Housing Act, or FEHA, for complaints of workplace discrimination upon the state Civil Rights Department's issuance of a right to sue letter. All references to contractor tracking and reporting and coordination with task force have been removed, thereby removing all opposition to the bill. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Calra. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. We'll close the roll, tallying the votes. Ayes 46, no 7. Measure passes. I'm going to pass temporarily on file item 211. Now move to file item 212, SB 1419, Senator Rubio by, looks like we're going to pass temporarily on that. Missing the author there. Now moving to Assembly Bill, or excuse me, item 213, Senate Bill 1498, Senator Ashby by Assembly Member Irwin. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1498 by Senator Ashby and others, an act relating to cannabis.
Assembly Member Irwin, you are recognized.
Thank you. Today I rise to present SB 1498, the Cannabis and Industrial Hemp Advertising Act, on behalf of Senator Ashby. This bill provides a necessary enforcement tool to address the illegal marketing of cannabis and hemp products that are appealing to children from both licensed and illicit businesses. SB 1498 addresses this issue by empowering the Attorney General, county councils, or city attorneys to prosecute a cannabis or hemp licensee or an illicit business when they violate current advertising laws designed to protect youth. SB 1498 simply seeks to keep our children safe and ensure that Prop 64 is implemented as intended. This bill has no opposition and has received bipartisan support.
Thank you, Assemblymember Irwin. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 61, no 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 214, SB 1504, Senator Stern by Assemblymember Lowenthal. Whoops, I'm sorry, passed. That my error. That was not my error there. Was not ready. Moving now to file item 216, SB 552, Mr. Newman by passing temporarily on 216. No author present. Moving now to file item 218, SB 1233, Senator Wilk by Mr. Mainshine. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1233 by Senator Wilk, an act relating to post-secondary education.
Mr. Mainshine, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 1233 is an opportunity to address California's shelter overpopulation and euthanization problem. Thank you, and I respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mainshine. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes ayes 59, no 0. Measure passes. We're going to move back in file order to file item 210, SB 1374, Senator Becker by Assemblymember Friedman. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1374 by Senator Becker and others, an act relating to energy.
Assemblymember Friedman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present SB 1374, a bill that I'm a proud joint author on behalf of Senator Becker. This measure is essential to ensure California is able to reach its renewable energy generation and reliability targets through deployment of distributed energy resources. Specifically, the measure does three things. It requires the CUP to apply the same rules for distributed solar to schools and apartment buildings as it does for single-family homes, by allowing them to self-consume the energy they generate on site. So we're talking about our schools and people who have apartment buildings putting up solar panels so that they can use the power themselves. It requires the CPUC to look at what other sets of meters are close enough in proximity to be considered self-consumption for the purposes of participating in the virtual net billing tariff and net billing aggregation subtariff. And author amendments last week added a sunset of July 1st, 2033 to the measure so that we can reevaluate before the program continues. Simply put, this measure allows our public schools and apartment dwellers to use the energy they generate on their properties to power their own facilities. Not only will this measure decrease energy costs for schools and renters, it also has the potential to offset future grid costs by reducing the demand to build transmission and distribution infrastructure, demand that is growing due to decarbonization regulations and climate targets that the state has enacted. The bill simply requires the PUC to apply the same rules to everyone, including the ability to get credit for self-consuming the energy a school or an apartment is generating from its own solar panels and simultaneously on its own property. I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Friedman. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 42, no 7, measure passes. Moving to file item 220, SB 636, Senator Cortese by Assemblymember Ward. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 636 by Senator Cortese, an act relating to workers' compensation.
Assemblymember Ward, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you for allowing me to present SB 636 on behalf of Senator Cortese today. SB 636 would require utilization review denials and modifications to be done by doctors licensed in California. Under current law for workers' comp cases, doctors do not have to be licensed in California, and this lack of accountability for malpractice is a danger to patients. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on SB 636.
Thank you, Assemblymember Ward. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 42, noes 9. Measure passes. Moving to file item 221, SB 583, Senator Padilla by Mr. Garcia. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 583 by Senator Padilla and others, an act relating to conservatories.
Mr. Garcia, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. This bill is a bill that this House seen last year in September. 2-year bill passed 68-0. The bill establishes the Salton Sea Conservancy, and amendments were clarifying an agreement between the Senate and the Governor's office and our House have come to an agreement, respectfully asking for your aye vote. Members, please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 50, no 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 222, SB 336, Senator Umberg by Assemblymember Nguyen. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 336 by Senator Umberg, an act relating to state grants.
Assemblymember Nguyen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present Senator Umberg's SB 336. SB 336 brings California on par with the federal government by ensuring that nonprofits are fairly compensated by the state for their full cost of providing services while administering state grants. SB 336 is supported by over 400 nonprofits and has received no votes to date and has no opposition. On behalf of Senator Umberg, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Nguyen. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 60, noes 0. Measure passes. Okay, we're still on Senate third reading, members, but we're moving back in file to file item 161, SB 1295, Senator Rubio by Mr. Gibson. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1295 by Senator Rubio and others, an act relating to insurance.
Mr. Gibson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and members. SB 1295 will ensure that consumers with auto insurance coverage policies are protected under the law from unfair auto insurance practices and clarifies that consumers have 10 days to cure a non-payment. This bill simply clarifies the time frame from the policyholder receiving the cancellation notice. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 56, no 0. Measure passes. We are passing temporarily on file item 162. Moving to file item 169, SB 1313, Senator Ashby by Mr. Hoover. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1313 by Senator Ashby, an act relating to vehicles.
Mr. Hoover, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'm rise to present SB 1313, the Safe Roads Act, on behalf of Senator Ashby. SB 1313 addresses the misuse of safety technology in vehicles, particularly with driving assistance and monitoring systems. Advanced driving assistance systems are becoming increasingly common in modern vehicles. They alert drivers of dangerous lane departures, lane centering, and of possible obstacles in the road. Unfortunately, some drivers are circumventing these safety systems by using aftermarket and homemade devices designed to simulate a driver's hands on the wheel by applying pressure. May have seen my colleague from Modesto doing this in his Tesla the other day, I'm not sure. SB 1313 prohibits individuals from using and purchasing devices designed to interfere with the vehicle's safety monitoring system. A violation would constitute an infraction. Recent amendments reflect technical and clarifying changes. The bill has received 0 no votes and enjoys bipartisan support. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Hoover. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 59, noes 0. Measure passes. Moving now to file item 175, SB 1059, Senator Bradford by Assemblymember Bonta. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1059 by Senator Bradford, an act relating to cannabis.
Assemblymember Bonta, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise to present SB 1059 on behalf of Senator Bradford, which will assist the legal cannabis industry by alleviating some of the tremendous tax burdens placed on this industry. High taxes, excessive regulatory hurdles, and various challenges that the cannabis businesses face have done little to help the legal cannabis market succeed the way that voters intended when Prop 64 was passed. SB 1059 would specifically eliminate a local government's collection of double taxation. In some jurisdictions, including the city of Los Angeles, local cannabis taxes or fees are calculated after the state excise tax is applied. This calculation method is unfair to consumers and disadvantages licensed retailers that continue to struggle against a thriving illicit market. SB 1059 addresses this issue and ensures that local taxes are based on the actual goods being sold. This bill has received bipartisan support and has no opposition, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bonta. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 60, noes 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 178, SB 1286, Senator Min by Mr. Kalra. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1286 by Senator Min, an afterlane to debt collection.
Member Kalra, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 1286 extends protections under the Rosenthal Act to individuals who personally sign for their business debt, protecting them from unfair, deceptive, and abusive debt collection practices. Since the 2008 economic crash, many traditional and non-traditional lenders require individuals to personally guarantee their business debt. Providing a personal guarantee on a loan opens the door for individual business owners to be subject to abusive debt collection practices. Some of these practices include threats, contacting borrowers at inconvenient hours, using false statements, and adding unauthorized interest or fees to the amount owed. Under SB 1286, these borrowers will still be responsible for paying their debts, but would not be subject to unfair, deceptive, or abusive collection practices. Many lenders and collectors already abide by the Rosenthal Act for consumer debt. This bill simply extends these protections to individuals with a guarantee on commercial debt. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Kalra. Member Dixon, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today in opposition to Senate Bill 1286. Just for clarification, proponents have been telling our offices that the amendments remove all opposition. This is false. Amendments have not removed any of the opposition. In fact, the author rejected almost every substantive amendment offered by the opponents. For example, the author refused to lower the threshold to $100,000 loans, which is more appropriate for a small business, versus $500,000 currently in the bill. The author refused to address a discrepancy related to open-ended loans. Specifically, if an auto dealer borrows, then repays multiple loans in a year for an aggregate total of $5 million borrowed, they would be covered by the bill. The author refused to resolve an issue related to the location where lawsuits may be filed. As drafted, a lender may not file suit where the collateral is located, such as an auto showroom, if it's in a different jurisdiction than the business office. This would make it harder to recover collateral, which is the author's intent. For these reasons, I ask you to join me in opposing SB 1286. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Dixon. Mr. Kalra.
I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Kalra. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 42, noes 15. Measure passes. Moving to file item 179, SB 1297, Senator Allen by Assemblymember Irwin. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1297 by Senator Allen and others, after lane to vehicles.
Assemblymember Irwin, you are recognized.
Speaker and members, I rise to present SB 1297 on behalf of Senator Allen. On an evening last October, a speeding driver on PCH in Malibu lost control of his vehicle and killed 4 Pepperdine University students standing on the side of the freeway. Since 2010, 60 people have been killed in vehicle accidents along this beautiful but exceedingly dangerous 21-mile stretch of roadway in Malibu. SB 1297 will create a speed camera pilot program for PCH in Malibu, modeled significantly on Assemblymember Friedman's legislation passed last year. Automated speed camera enforcement is recommended by numerous federal agencies as a proven way to enforce speed limits. The Federal Highway Administration shows that speed cameras reduce crashes on urban streets by 54%, and an NTSB review of speed camera programs around the world found that cameras were effective in reducing fatal collisions. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Irwin. Mr. Saley, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, I think we should learn our lesson from the red light cameras because those are very ubiquitous and popular. And I think a lot of these cameras end up being used as a money-making operation by local governments. And so a lot of cities have discontinued the red light cameras because it preyed on the most poor in our society. I think you could have more enforcement, you can have more police officers, but the last thing we need in the state of California are speed cameras, trap cameras. We're stuck in traffic so much, sometimes you got to go a little of the speed limit. I don't want speed cameras on every turn. So I oppose this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Saley. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 42, noes 5, measure passes. I'm going to move back in file order to file item 167. SB 1053, Senator Blakespear by Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1053 by Senator Blakespear and others, after lane to solid waste.
Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This bill is something you have actually all voted on before because it mirrors the bill that I carried that will get rid of those thick plastic bags that you use for on average 12 minutes in the grocery store and replace it with a friendly paper bag with a higher recycled content that you see today. These bags will be made here in California and will be much more friendly to our environment, our birds, our children, less microplastics, less waste, but obviously reusable is best. So remember the motto we learned in second grade, reduce, reuse, recycle, and vote aye on SB 1053.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan. Seeing and Ms. Davies.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today I rise in support of SB 1053. Members, the number one job we have as legislators is to vote our district. Let me tell you about my district. I have the most beautiful beaches in the 74th Assembly District with both Oceanside and San Clemente. But let me tell you, those beaches are consistently littered with these plastic bags. My office has organized beach cleanups throughout my time in the office, and yet year after year we pick up these bags. Members, over the last year, I've conducted an informal poll using social media and my constituents asking for their thoughts on these proposals. And unsurprisingly, 75% of respondents have said they support the goal of the legislation. What needs to be clear is that this bill will not outlaw 100% of plastic bags. Instead, it will require the industry to make more sustainable alternatives and move consumers into the right direction. When we have new data and science showing the microplastics are showing up in our marine animals and yes, even humans, now is the time for us to be protective on this issue. For the sake of both our environmental and human health, I urge an aye vote on SB 1053.
Thank you, Assemblymember Davies. Seeing and hearing no further debate, would you like to close, Rebecca?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, I just want to recognize both my co-authors across the aisle and also my colleague across the aisle who are co-authoring this effort to clean up California and make sure we are more responsible. With that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan. With that, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 49, noes 5. Measure passes. Moving back in file order to file item number 180, SB 1328, Senator Bradford by Dr. Jackson. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1328 by Senator Bradford and others, an act relating to elections, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Dr. Jackson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise on behalf of Senator Bradford, which will update and makes clear existing law, procedures, and requirements related to election technology certified for use in California. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 54, noes 1 on the urgency. Ayes 54, noes 1 on the bill. Measure passes. You can go here if you want, jump down and then come back to me.
Gibson, ready? Okay, we're now going to take up file item number 189, SB 42. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 42 by Senator Umberg, an act relating to courts, declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
And Assemblymember Gibson, you may open.
Madam Speaker and members, on behalf of Senator Umber, presenting SB 42, the Care Courts Cleanup Bill, respectfully asking for an aye vote.
Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 59, noes 0 on the urgency. Ayes 59, noes 0 on the bill. Measure passes. We are now going to jump back to item number 182, SB 1382. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1382 by Senator Glazer, an act relating to health and care facilities.
Dr. Wood, you may open.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise on behalf of Senator Glazer to present SB 1382. SB 1382 will allow the Healthcare Affordability Office to create building standards that are at least as stringent as those required by Medicare reimbursement for primary care clinics in California. Existing law requires primary care clinics, which only provide outpatient services, to comply with the same building standards as hospital clinics that provide inpatient services such as overnight stays or surgeries. When clinics are forced to make costly adjustments after purchasing buildings, funds that would go towards patient care are diverted away from vulnerable patient populations that need it the most. The bill will right-size building standards for primary care clinics, expand crucial healthcare services to our underserved populations while ensuring patient safety is not jeopardized. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote on SB 1382.
Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 59, no 0. Measure passes.
Moving to file item 197, SB 1025, Senator Eggman by Mr. Lackey. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1025 by Senator Eggman, an act relating to diversion.
Mr. Lackey, you are recognized.
Well, good afternoon, colleagues. Today I'm here to present Senate Bill 1025, Veterans Diversion, on behalf of Senator Eggman. This bill would expand eligibility for veteran diversion programs to include the same types of felony charges for which a person can currently be granted admission into a mental health diversion court. Additionally, the author included amendments to clarify the provisions of this bill do not apply to felony DUI offenses and took amendments to avoid chaptering issues with other bills. It truly deserves your support and hope it gets it.
Thank you, Mr. Lackey. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 58, no 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 198, SB 1105, Senator Padilla by Mr. Garcia. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1105 by Senator Padilla, an act relating to paid sick leave.
Mr. Garcia, you are recognized.
Thank you. And members, Senate Bill 1105, authored by my senator, Senator Steve Padilla, strives to amend the Healthy Workplaces Code, ensuring that essential workers like farm workers are protected and have access to paid sick leave to avoid the disproportionate impacts of climate change situations such as floods, wildfires, and extreme heat. The bill has received bipartisan support. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 56, noes 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 200, SB 1112, Senator Menjivar by Assemblymember Nguyen. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1112 by Senator Menjivar and others, an act relating to child care.
Assemblymember Nguyen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present SB 1112 on behalf of Senator Menjivar. SB 1112 would codify in statute that alternative payment agencies, also known as resource and referral networks, can use their administrative dollars in order to get youth connected to developmental screenings. By making AP agencies aware that they can use their administrative funds for this work, we can leverage the existing framework to provide access to children and families served in subsidized child care programs. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on behalf of Senator Menjivar.
Thank you, Assemblymember Nguyen. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 59, no 0. Measure passes. Moving to file item 202, SB 1220, Senator Lamone by Mr. Calra. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1220 by Senator Limon and others, an act relating to public contracts.
Mr. Calra, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. SB 1220 will protect the quality of public services by requiring workers to remain in call centers for government benefit programs instead of being outsourced to artificial intelligence. These call centers serve the most vulnerable Californians enrolling in programs like CalWORKs, CalFresh, Medi-Cal, Healthy Families, and Covered California, or local state-funded programs that provide similar benefits. When people enrolling in these programs run into barriers, they are less likely to sign up. Call center workers have been essential in connecting residents to critical services. This bill will ensure there's a live person available to assist people when they call to receive help. But our intent is not to preclude AI from being used as a tool to assist workers. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Colroy. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tallying the votes ayes 51, noes 1. Measure passes. Moving to the Majority Leader for motion. Madam Majority Leader, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Assembly Rule 96, I request unanimous consent to withdraw the following bills from the Rules Committee and order the bills to the third reading. SB 819, Eggman. SB 1003, Dodd. SB 1221, Min. SB 1381, Wahab. SB 1394, Min.
Without objection, such shall be the order. Members, pursuant to Assembly Rule 77.2, I am re-referring Senator SB 103 Dodd to Utilities and Energy Committee. Members, we will now move to file item 192, SB 549, Senator Newman, by Assemblymember Aguiar Curry. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 549 by Senator Newman and others, and after laying to gaming.
Assemblymember Aguiar Curry, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present SB 549 on behalf of Senator Newman. This bill would provide California tribes a limited avenue to seek a declaratory judgment in state court on the legality of certain card games operated by licensed card rooms. Prior to the year 2000, California law explicitly prohibited banked card games such as blackjack and baccarat, where players collectively compete against the banker referred to as the house. Games where people compete against one another and the role of the dealer rotates were and are legal. In 2000, 64% of the California voters granted California's indigenous people the authority in the Constitution under Prop 1A, the right to conduct games run by the House. Under Prop 1A, tribes were specifically given the exclusive right to operate banked card games. In the decades since, however, no court has been able to opine on the extent of that constitutional grant. This lack of clarity, colleagues, has served as a basis for the long-standing dispute between California Indian tribes and the California licensed card rooms. And frankly, we'll have to deal with it until we provide the venue for the questions to be answered. Prior attempts to resolve this dispute through the regulatory and legislative processes or by electoral initiative have failed. SB 549 will resolve this irretractable dispute by granting California Indian tribes the legal standing to seek a declaratory judgment on whether card games offered by card rooms and banked by a third-party proposition player service provider are in violation of the California Constitution. The central question of this bill is not about what game card rooms may offer. The central question of this bill is simply whether we should allow a court of law the opportunity to answer these decades-old questions purely on its merits. On behalf of Senator Newman, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Aguiar Curry. Mr. Ramos, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too rise in support of SB 549. Prop 5 and Senate Constitutional Amendment 1 granted tribal governments the right to move forward with compacts in the state of California. Many, but not all, tribal governments are able to move forward with economic prosperity. Today, we look at the complexities of Class 3 compacts here in the state of California. The economic sovereignty came after hundreds of years of brutality suffered by California's native people, a fact that officially acknowledged by the state of California's Governor Newsom July 11, 2023, through an executive order, an apology for the genocide of Native American people here in the state of California. The Colonizational Act and the Gold Rush brought down a way of life of survival to the state's first people, that during those times, California's first people land was taken. And during that time, there was no borders or walls separating California from others. It was free roaming of tribal and cultural economic success that moved throughout this territory. That life and this statehood took that away with militias paid for with taxpayers' dollars to legally hunt and kill California's first people so that the state of California could call the state their own. And despite those atrocities, California's first people are still here with the resiliency of moving forward. Today, SB 549 represents a voice for tribes today that have found prosperity through gaming, but not all have found this prosperity. This voice is a voice for those to build in the future tribes being able to build economic success in the state of California with economic opportunities. SB 549 is not about wealthy tribes forcing an issue. It's about the future of the tribes to be able to have a chance to offer games through Class 3 compacts and knowing what the rules are. SB 549 is about tribal governments asking a judicial system that has not been friendly to California's first people, a system that is a constant reminder of a government that oppressed our people. And to now turn to a system, a judicial court, shows great compromise on the side of California's first people to live with an outcome through those proceedings. Make no mistake, this bill is not about forcing the issue. It is rather an acceptance of the outcome of an oppressed government's rule with this great compromise. Moving forward, I ask for you to an aye vote on this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Ramos. Mr. Haney, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today in support of SB 549. I want to thank my colleague from San Bernardino, my colleague from Winters for their words. Fundamentally, this is about fairness and access to justice. If somebody has a dispute in our country, if they disagree on the law or the facts, we give them their day in court. That's all this bill does. There is a disagreement here about a topic that honestly, I've heard it now in 2 different committees, one that I would not claim to be an expert on, how our law applies to particular types of games. And there is without a doubt a dispute around that. And when there's a dispute around something of that level of significance, and it's of a particular significance not only because of the jobs and the resources and everything that is at stake here, but because of our responsibility that we have in our history to the first peoples of our state. If anyone deserves a hearing, if anyone deserves an opportunity to have this be resolved, in light of the responsibility, the historic responsibility that we have to the tribes of our state, they deserve it. And so they are not even asking for, in any way, dictating the outcome. In many ways, this could resolve this question not in their favor. What they're asking for is an objective, fair, unbiased court judge to decide this question and provide that clarity. For anyone who is concerned about losing resources from their city or other things, if the law is being followed, there's going to be no change. Anyone who is following the law has nothing to be worried about when they enter into a court. And so I think in light of our responsibility, in light of what our laws say, the very least we can do, and this is the bare minimum, is give folks their day in court. And the first peoples of our state deserve that and a whole lot more. I think we have a responsibility here in this chamber that has been on the wrong side of this issue for many years in terms of our responsibility to give these folks the day in court and to have this resolved. I am in very strong support, having heard this in 2 committees and been and spoken about this along with many of you for many, many months of SB 549, and I hope we will have a strong vote in support of it today.
Thank you, Mr. Haney. Mr. Bryan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. I rise as a proud co-author of this measure. California's First Peoples experienced something that indigenous people to this country faced all across this country, which was displacement, push out, the stealing of children in forced boarding schools. But something unique happened in California relative to other places along the South because there was nowhere else to push you. It was a genocide that was uniquely specific to California. And when we think about what that history means and the role that this chamber, this body, and these institutions played in facilitating that kind of state-sanctioned violence, there's a harm to be repaired. That's why we promised exclusivity over gaming, over certain games to tribal communities. We gave them that as a form of reparation, as a form of repayment, as a form of justice. And there is a dispute on whether that sovereignty over that exclusivity over gaming is being held true to what the voters passed for tribal communities. And you know what? They are doing us a favor, California's First People today. They're not asking us to decide. They've been asking for a long time, and we haven't stepped up to that call. And so they changed the demand of this House. And it was to let the courts decide, to give them access to justice, to give them access to the process by which we've established to arbitrate these kinds of disputes. That's more than fair. That's a responsibility I think we have to follow through on today. And I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Assemblymember Bauer Cahan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I also rise to echo the comments that have been made on SB 549 in support. Not to play law professor here, but I think it's really important for us to understand why this bill is needed. In order to go into a court needs 2 things over you: subject matter jurisdiction over the subject being disputed, which our state courts have in this instance because it's state law, and they need personal jurisdiction over you as a person. Because our Native people are sovereign nations, they're granted personal jurisdiction in federal courts, which means they can't get both of those things right now in a court. And so they're asking us for their day in court. And I think what was said by my colleague from Los Angeles is so critical, because the reason they don't have jurisdiction in state court over them as persons is because they are independent sovereign nations. Sovereign nations within our borders because we took their land and surrounded it with California. And now we say, sorry, you can't come into our courts and have this decided. And that, to me, is a fundamental civil rights issue. I believe that it is a civil right of everybody living here and abroad, by the way, because foreign nations can bring actions as well in our courts, to have their day in court. And the fact that we are looking at a situation where California's First People can't get into court to have their dispute heard because of this legal scenario they're in means we are denying them the civil rights they deserve. And we have done that for far too long. And today, to me, this is actually incredibly simple. If you believe in the civil rights of our Native people, then you'll vote aye. I actually don't think this is a complicated dispute. We will send it to court, we will give them their day in court, and the court will determine the law. That's what our courts are built to do. And it is what each of us and the tribes deserve. And so I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bauer Cahan. Assemblymember Connolly, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I also rise today as a proud co-author of SB 549. This bill furthers the goals of Prop 1A, which has been a crucial benefit for California tribes and their neighbors. These efforts, as we know, have led to the creation of thousands of good-paying jobs and help support economies of so many communities around California. However, since voters granted these exclusive rights to California tribes, our tribes have had difficulty in securing enforcement. The proposal in this bill, as has been noted, is limited in scope and appropriate for what tribes are trying to achieve. All this bill is looking for is a definitive answer to the following long-standing question. Are some of the controlled games operated by card clubs banking card games that violate California tribes' exclusive gaming rights? Our tribes deserve to have their day in court and the opportunity to have their voice heard. I join my colleagues in urging a aye vote on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Connolly. Mr. Bennett, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, members. For some of my younger colleagues on the floor, they may not remember the day that we Californians actually voted to give the tribes this right, this exclusive right to gaming. But I remember that campaign, and I view it as the day that mainstream Californians awakened to their responsibility to the tribal nations in California. That was the day that mainstream Californians voted overwhelmingly to say, yes, the tribes deserve to have some form of economic reparations, and this was what we gave them. And to turn around and say this was a state initiative that gave them this authority, and then say they can't go to the state court to try to get it resolved, is not what I believe the majority of Californians were voting for when they voted that day. And so I strongly encourage, speaking on behalf of lots of mainstream Californians that are in my district that don't have much connection, unfortunately, with tribal nations, I believe they all strongly would support this. And the opposition's claim that we should not even give them their day in court because they're concerned about the economic impacts just does not ring true from my perspective. So I strongly encourage an aye vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Garcia, you are recognized.
Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think of the history of tribes to make their place within the Constitution, to exercise their self-determination. And I think of 1987 Cabazon Band of Mission Indians versus United States, where it was the tribes pushing the issue of tribal sovereignty and their ability to be self-determined as a people. And they were successful, and that led to the Indian Regulatory Gaming Act of 1988. But since that point forward, tribes have been taken to task, to court, challenging their ability to be empowered, to provide economic opportunities for their people in their country, their nation, as tribes here in California and throughout the nation. And that fight has not ended. However, it's been the courts that have determined the future of tribes. And yet here we are arguing, debating, deliberating whether or not tribes have standing in our judicial system. I agree with my colleague who spoke about this bill being a simple bill in terms of creating a space for tribes and other entities to have their day in court and determine, and I like to simplify it as simple as this: call a ball or a strike on the question at hand. And so to our tribal brothers and sisters, you do deserve a day in court, and that the ultimate say stands in the hands of our judicial system that we trust and say that it brings justice for everyone. That the legal fights that our tribes have been undergoing since day one be taken to the court. Any decision be made. Respectfully ask for your support on SB 549.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Dr. Jackson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. When I first heard about this bill and was asked to be a co-author, the first thing that came to my mind was the historic Dred Scott decision on my ancestors deciding whether we were human enough, whether we were American enough, or whether we were just simply property to be able to have the dignity and humanity to have our day in court. I think we have got to take a step back, and the message that California would send if we say that you are not worthy enough, you haven't jumped through enough hoops, you don't have enough dignity enough in order for you to have a day in our courts. What does that say about the message we're sending to the original people of this land? There are sometimes things become just a moral question. It just becomes a fairness and justice question. Putting business aside, but there's many of us who are on the wrong side of having a day in court throughout this state and nation's history. So we've got to be careful. It's not just a bill. We're talking about the humanity of a people. And so I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. Assemblymember Mirasucci, you are recognized.
Thank you very much. I rise in support of this bill, and it took me until this debate. You know, when people say that these debates don't matter on the floor because no one, no votes are changed. I want to thank in particular our colleague from Orinda for that law school reminder, of why sovereign nations, tribes as sovereign nations do not have standing to bring their claim in court. That was something that I was not hearing from any of the advocates for the tribes, and I was wrestling with this because I have a city, the city of Gardena, that up to 20% of their revenues comes from their local card clubs. I know that our firefighters, our public servants in these cities rely upon those revenues. But yes, I have to agree with that very simple point that, as sovereign nations, they deserve their standing to bring their claims in our state courts to bring resolution to these issues. It's not predetermining the outcome of these disputes. It's giving them the civil right to bring their claim in our state courts. And so I wholeheartedly support this measure.
Thank you, Assemblymember Mirasucci. Seeing no others wishing to speak, Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry, your closing remarks.
Members, I thank you for the thoughtful discussion. I really do. And as I think Assemblymember Mirasucci said, these discussions are important. And we think we know it all, and we have our framework of what we are going to believe in. But that was, I appreciate everybody supporting this bill that stood today. The tribes could have sought a punitive measure, as many wanted us to do. They could have sought legal standing against individual card rooms, driving small card room businesses out of business. They could have sought damages. They did not. For those who ask why sovereign tribal governments seek standing in California state courts, I'm sure tribes would be happy to have that authority in tribal courts. I don't think that the opposition would agree to that. The fact is, this dispute is about a provision in the state constitution. State courts are the only appropriate venue. Again, members, SB 549 does not take a side in this dispute at all. It does take a side on whether the questions get answered. That's the side I'm pretty comfortable with being on, no matter who wins. But the one thing is certain. If this legislature refuses to grant our first people the legal standing needed for the courts to weigh in, we remain in closer to a resolution to this intractable dispute. And we'll be back here next year. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Aguirre-Curry. The clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 58, noes 0. Measure passes. Members, we're going to go back to concurrence, starting with item number 100, AB 810. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 810 by Assemblymember Friedman, an act relating to post-secondary education.
Assemblymember Friedman, you may open.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker and members. AB 810, which received wide bipartisan support, is back on concurrence. Just to remind you, this is the bill that helps prevent predatory coaches or professors from moving from school to school at our UCs to prey on college students. The amendments reduce the fiscal cost for this bill for implementation with the UCs, and I respectfully request an aye vote. Thank you.
Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 52, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Taking us to item number 101, AB 884. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 884 by Assemblymember Lowe and others, an act relating to elections.
Assemblymember Lowe, you may open.
Thank you very much. I respectfully ask for our vote.
Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those votes who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 55, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We're going to pass temporarily on item number 102. Taking us to item number 103, AB 1575. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1575 by Assemblymember Irwin, an act relating to public post-secondary education.
Assemblymember Irwin, you may open.
Thank you. I rise to present AB 1575, Katie Meyer's Law. AB 1575 seeks to strengthen support for students involved in an administrative proceeding at their college or university. I introduced this bill in response to the devastating experience of a family in my district. Their daughter, Katie Meyer, was an outstanding Stanford student athlete, a captain on the women's soccer team, whose death by suicide followed a threatening notice of a student code of conduct proceeding that would derail her future. Her death was one of a number of student athlete suicides in 2022 that brought light to the need for a new approach that prioritizes student mental health. Many of you were here in 2022 when I adjourned in Katie's memory with her family watching from the gallery. But the Meyer family hasn't stayed on the sidelines watching. They have advocated here and across the country to put into place this policy to honor Katie's memory. The Meyer family and I believe that AB 1575's mechanism to allow a student to select an advisor to assist them through a proceeding will provide stable support that may be through what may be the most challenging moment a student has to face in their life. With AB 1575, we can provide life-changing support to our students who encounter suicidal thoughts. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those votes who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 54, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We're going to now go to our Majority Leader Aguirre Curry for her procedural motion.
Madam Speaker, I request unanimous consent to suspend Joint Rule 62A, the file notice requirement to allow the Utilities and Energy Committee to hear SB 1003 Dodd on Friday, August 30th upon the call of the chair in room 437.
Without objection, such shall be the order. We'll now go to item number 104, AB 1575, or my apologies, 1577. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1577 by Assemblymember Lowe, an act relating to health facilities.
Assemblymember Lowe, you may open.
I respectfully ask for our vote.
Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. The clerk will close the roll. Ayes 42, noes 5. Senate amendments are concurred in. We're going to pass temporarily on item number 105, taking us to item number 106, AB 1826. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1826 by Assemblymember Holden, an act relating to communications.
Assemblymember Holden, you may open.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Assembly Bill 1826, renamed the Digital Infrastructure and Video Competition Act of 2024, is back for concurrence. The amendments in the Senate do the following. Clarifies the CPUC authority to establish certain requirements for cable franchises during the issuance of a new franchise or the renewal of an existing franchise. Require the CPUC to hold at least one public hearing for each franchise application and 2 public hearings for each franchise renewal. Requires the CPUC to issue an annual evaluation of each franchise holder and services provided to Californians. Modify deadlines for the CPUC review of applications for the issuance of renewal of cable franchises. AB 1826 reflects the legislature's opinion on what the CPUC should consider to significantly improve DIFCA by ensuring transparency in the state video franchising process. This bill creates a process that allows for public involvement by requiring a public hearing for new and renewal applications, as well as annual reporting for existing franchises on how well they met the needs of their community. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Holden. Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. Mr. Holden moves the call. We will pass temporarily on item number 107, taking us to item number 108, AB 1949. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1949 by Assemblymember Wicks and others, an act relating to privacy.
Assemblymember Wicks, you may open.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. AB 1949 expands the California Consumer Privacy Act protections to include restrictions on the collection, use, and disclosure of children's data, and would ensure that these protections apply to youth up to 18 across the board. This bill has received bipartisan support since its introduction and passed the Senate 33-0. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Wicks. Seeing no others wishing to speak, the clerk will open the roll. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. All those votes who desire to vote. This bill has bipartisan support. All those votes who desire to vote.
Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 43, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Okay. We're going to move to file item 110, AB 1975 by Assemblymember Bonta. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1975 by Assemblymember Bonta and others, and relating to Medi-Cal.
Assemblymember Bonta, you are recognized.
Members, AB 1975, also known as Food as Medicine, is back on concurrence with technical amendments. Food as Medicine is a legislative reparations priority for the California Legislative Black Caucus. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Bonta. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 111, AB 1984 by Dr. Weber. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1984 by Assemblymember Weber, an act relating to pupil discipline.
Dr. Weber, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And fellow members, I rise to request concurrence in Senate amendments for AB 1984. These amendments delay implementation and narrow the scope of the bill to only require reporting data on student transfers initiated by the school for disciplinary reasons. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote on Senate concurrence for AB 1984. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 59, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Looks like we're going to pass temporarily on file item 112. Moving now to file item 113, AB 2085 by Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2085 by Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan and others, an act relating to land use.
Assemblymember Bauer-Cahan, you are recognized.
2085, please.
2085, please. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 47, noes 2. Senate amendments are concurred in. You're welcome. File item 114, AB 2091 by Assemblymember Grayson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2091 by Assemblymember Grayson, an act relating to environmental quality.
Mr. Grayson, you are recognized.
AB 2091 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments narrowed the bill's application to 4 independent special park districts and added additional safeguards to ensure protections for natural and tribal resources. It also applied the bill to trail projects in the North Coast. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Grayson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 52, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 115, AB 2105 by Assemblymember Lowenthal. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2105 by Assemblymember Lowenthal and others, an act relating to health care coverage.
Mr. Lowenthal, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2105, which requires coverage for the treatment of pandas and pans, is back on concurrence. Senate amendments clarify that treatments prescribed by a physician or surgeon must meet currently nationally recognized clinical practice guidelines by expert treating physicians, published in peer-reviewed medical literature. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowenthal. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 53, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 116, AB 2119 by Dr. Weber. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2119 by Assemblymember Weber, an act relating to mental health.
Dr. Weber, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise today to request concurrence in Senate amendments for AB 2119. The amendments add double jointing language and make further revisions that are clarifying in nature. Thank you, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Weber. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 60, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 117, AB 2235 by Assemblymember Lowenthal. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2235 by Assemblymember Lowenthal, an act relating to public contracts.
Assemblymember Lowenthal, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2235 is back from the Senate on concurrence. I want to give a shout out to all the incredible men and women that work at the Port of Long Beach and excitement for the project that's before them. The amendments taken in the Senate, clarify the scope of work that can be included in a contract for the Pier Wind project by deleting the definition of construction and inserting a definition of maritime and longshore operations. Very happy to say these amendments remove the opposition of the state building trades. AB 2235 has enjoyed bipartisan support. Thank you, and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowenthal. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 60, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 119, AB 2245 by Assemblymember Juan Carrillo. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2245 by Assemblymember Juan Carrillo, an act relating to school employees.
Assemblymember Carrillo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 2245 is back on concurrence. This bill allows career technical education teachers and employed by regional occupational centers or programs to attain permanent status for after a probatory period of 2 years. Senate amendments narrow the bill to apply to our ROCPs operated through a single school district. Thank you, and I urge and I vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carrillo. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 45, noes 8. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to the majority leader for her motion.
Mr. Speaker, I request unanimous consent to suspend Joint Rule 62A, the file notice requirement to allow the Utilities and Energy Committee to hear AB 1533, Committee on Utilities and Energy on Friday, August 30th, upon the call of the chair in room 437.
Without objection, such shall be the order. Moving back to file order to file item number 120, AB 2247 by Mr. Wallace. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2247 by Assemblymember Wallace, an act relating to mobile homes.
Mr. Wallace, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2247 is back for concurrence and Senate amendments that clarify the reporting language and avoid chaptering problems. Respectfully request an aye vote on Senate amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Wallace. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 58, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Now, file item 121, AB 2286 by Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2286 by Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry and others, an act relating to vehicles.
Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2286 is back on concurrence. The goal of AB 2286 is still simple. The bill is about making sure an intentional and safe transition to autonomous technology as it is integrated into large vehicles like heavy-duty trucks. Senate amendments add co-authors and add chaptering amendments. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 55, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 122, AB 2297 by Assemblymember Friedman. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2297 by Assemblymember Friedman and others, and related to healthcare.
Assemblymember Friedman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you may recall, AB 2297 strengthens the patient protections under the Hospital Fair Pricing Act. The Senate amendments that we are concurring in today make clarifying changes and move the California Hospital Association to neutral. There is no remaining opposition to this bill, and I would request an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Friedman. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Oops, hang on. Darn it. Reopen, please. Now the clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 48, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 123, AB 2316 by Assemblymember Gabriel. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2316 by Assemblymember Gabriel and others, and relating to pupil nutrition.
Assemblymember Gabriel, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased today that the California School Food Safety Act is back on concurrence. As a reminder, this is a bipartisan bill that would prohibit schools from serving foods containing dangerous additives that can harm our children or interfere with their ability to learn. Amendments taken in the Senate have removed opposition from the Ag Council, the American Chemistry Council, and the Dairy Association, among others. This common sense measure is supported by doctors, nurses, teachers, and school administrators, and it passed the Senate with a bipartisan vote of 36-0. And I want to take a moment and especially thank my Republican colleagues. I know many of you were skeptical about this effort when we first introduced it, but you have taken the time to listen and to learn and to look at the research and the science and the evidence and the data. And I'm so grateful that so many Republicans supported it in the Senate, and hopeful that we can move this forward because the issue of food safety is and should be a bipartisan one. And I will also share with our colleagues that the work that we are doing in this space is actually moving the needle nationally. As you may remember, we passed a bill last year to ban 4 chemicals here in the state of California, one of them being brominated vegetable oil. And just a few weeks ago, the FDA finally acted to ban that nationally. So the work that we are doing here is driving this debate nationally. And so on behalf of our children, respectfully request an aye vote on AB 2316.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 55, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 124, AB 2319 by, we're going to pass temporarily there. So we'll go to 125, AB 2346 by Assemblymember Lee. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2346 by Assemblymember Lee and related to solid waste.
Assemblymember Lee, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill is intended to create greater flexibility for local jurisdictions to meet their organic waste diversion targets without undermining diversion mandates. This bill has bipartisan support throughout the process, and I respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 53, no 0. Measure consent amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 126, AB 2357 by Dr. Baines. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2357 by Assemblymember Baines and relating to the University of California.
Dr. Baines, you are recognized.
Thank you, Speaker and members. AB 2357 is back on concurrence from the Senate with minor and technical amendments. I just want to take this moment and deeply thank everybody on this floor and in the Senate who cared enough about Kern County to vote yes on this bill. So often the communities I represent feel that Sacramento does not hear, does not see, and does not care about our struggles. The South Valley has struggled with a severe doctor shortage for more than a generation. It's one of the reasons I, my brother, and my sister from a little town of Delano became doctors. All three of us had to leave our community in order to go to medical school. This bill represents a future where a kid from Bakersfield or Delano or even Taft can become a doctor without leaving a place that needs them so badly. So to everybody on this floor, you have my eternal gratitude for supporting this bill, and I look forward to hopefully having that future for our kids in Kern County. Thank you. I respectfully ask for your I vote or request concurrence with Senate amendments.
Thank you, Dr. Bain. Seeing and hearing no further support, testimony, debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 54, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 127, AB 2447 by Assemblymember Valencia. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2447 by Assemblymember Valencia, and act relating to the California State University.
Mr. Valencia, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, thank you and buenas tardes. AB 2448 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments increase the threshold for CSUs to report expenditures of up to $25,000. I respectfully ask for a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valencia. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk, close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 128, AB 2454 by Assemblymember Lee. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2454 by Assemblymember Lee, and act relating to drinking water.
Mr. Lee, you are recognized.
Respectfully ask for our vote.
You are not Mr. Lee.
Respectfully ask for I vote.
You are Mr. Lee. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 43, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in for Mr. Lee. Moving to file item 129, AB 2488 by Mr. Ting. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2488 by Assemblymember Ting, and act relating to local government.
Mr. Ting, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2488 is back on concurrence. Senate amends this clarified district formation process, added labor protections, made a number of technical changes to address implementation concerns. This bill will be a big help. It's a district bill to San Francisco, turning our struggling downtown into a vibrant mixed-use community, helps us convert office buildings into apartments and multifamilies. So respectfully ask for my vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 47, noes 49, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 130, AB 2515 by Assemblymember Pappen. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2515 by Assemblymember Pappen, and act relating to public health.
Assemblymember Pappen, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Tampon Act is back on concurrence. Senate amendments do two things: require the Department of Toxic Substance Control to determine the threshold of unintentionally added PFAS in 2027, and requires mental product manufacturers to register compliance with the department in 2029. This bill is about protecting the environment, public health, and ensuring women's health equity, and I respectfully request an I vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Pappen. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 53, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Pass and retain, pass temporarily, excuse me, on item 131. Moving to file item 132, AB 2549 by Mr. Gallagher. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2549 by Assemblymember Gallagher and others, enacting the patient visitation.
Mr. Gallagher, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2549 is back on concurrence. This bill builds on existing law by ensuring patient visitation rights for specific immediate family members, especially in end-of-life situations. I have named this bill Diane's Law in memory of my aunt, who passed during the time of COVID, and family members were not able to visit in person, and it was a very tough time. And I know that's an experience that many people have gone through, especially in recent years. And the body of law that I think we're building here, along with my colleague from San Diego, who has similar legislation, I think is going to help ensure that we do have that in-person visitation rights with family members. And so I appreciate your support for this important measure that's back on concurrence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 58, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 133, AB 2552 by Assemblymember Friedman. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2552 by Assemblymember Friedman, enacting the pesticides.
Assemblymember Friedman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2552 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments completely exempt agriculture from the scope of this bill. And with that, I would request an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Friedman. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes. No, we can't do that. Never mind. Got too quick. I was on a roll. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 41, noes 12. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 134, AB 2597 by Assemblymember Ward. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2597 by Assemblymember Ward, enacting the housing.
Assemblymember Ward, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2597 is back on concurrence. Amendments in the Senate allow councils of governments to streamline the RENA appeals process for local governments to get their final RENA allocations and get started on their housing elements sooner. Respectfully ask for concurrence on Senate amendments.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 45, noes 10. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 135, AB 2642 by Assemblymember Berman. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2642 by Assemblymember Berman and others, enacting to elections and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Assemblymember Berman, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2642 would strengthen and supplement California's existing anti-intimidation laws by providing explicit civil protections for both election workers and for voters. Amendments taken in the Senate added a severability clause. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Berman. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Requires 54 votes, members. All those vote who desire to vote. 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 54 vote bill, members. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 56, noes 11. Urgent. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 136, AB 2670 by Assemblymember Chavo. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2670 by Assemblymember Schiavo and others, and act relating to health.
Assemblymember Chavo, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2670 is back on the floor for concurrence. It will prompt the California Department of Public Health to launch a public awareness campaign and communicate the facts about pregnancy care and abortion services through the abortion.ca.gov website. You know, a lot of people don't know about this website, and it's the place where you can go for safe information about where you can get abortion care, and it really makes good on the promise for us to share information that is safe and accurate about abortion healthcare in California. Respectfully request an aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Chavo. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 45, noes 13. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 137, Assembly Bill 2694 by Mr. Ward. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2694 by Assemblymember Ward, and act relating to land use.
Mr. Ward, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2694 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments make technical changes and address chaptering out issues with another bill. Respectfully ask for your aye vote on concurrence.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 53, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 138, AB 2747 by Mr. Haney. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2747 by Assemblymember Haney, and act relating to Tennessee.
Mr. Haney, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2747 is back for concurrence, brings rent reporting up to standard practice by allowing tenants the option to opt into reporting their positive rent payments, clarifying amendments in the Senate, and removed opposition of the Apartment Association and Realtors. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Haney. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 44, noes 10. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 139, AB 2759 by Assemblymember Petrie Norris. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2759 by Assemblymember Petrie Norris, an act relating to domestic violence.
Assemblymember Petrie Norris, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise today to present Senate amendments to AB 2759. Amendments are technical and clarifying in nature. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Petrie Norris. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 59, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 140, AB 2906 by Assemblymember Bryan. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2906 by Assemblymember Bryan and others, an act relating to foster care.
Mr. Bryan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. AB 2906 is a really important bill. When children who are in foster care have lost their biological parents, they've passed away, those children are due survivor benefits. But counties across California are applying for those survivor benefits on those children's behalf and then not giving it to them, just utilizing it in their general operating budget. It's unconscionable. We don't have to do it this way. There are other states who do it differently. This is a child-centered bill. It's an important bill, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Mr. Joe Patterson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I rise in support of this measure. A very close family member of mine lost one of their parents, and the other spouse was the recipient of the survivor benefits at that time to help, obviously, pay to help upbring that child. And I understand that foster care agencies have a lot of expenses to help foster kids find placement, but that's a role of the state, not the role of taking the money that is dedicated to the child to make sure that they can survive and live their livelihood when they're actually in foster care. And so I think this is a great measure. I supported it last year, and I hope this will be the last time I support it because I'm looking forward to it being signed by the governor. So with that, I ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Would you like to close, Mr. Bryan?
It's time to stop stealing the money from foster kids. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
And with that, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 61, noes 0. Measure, since Senate amendments are concurred in. Okay. The clerk will lit the call on file item 107, excuse me. Yeah, I'm sorry. Please lit the call on Assemblymember Holden's bill. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 43, noes 14. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 141, AB 2975 by Assemblymember Gibson. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2975 by Assemblymember Gibson and others, an act relating to employment.
Assemblymember Gibson, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Assembly Bill 2975 is back on concurrence. This is my safe hospital bill for all. Amendments taken in the Senate allows rural, small, long-term care and rehabilitation hospital to exclusively use handheld metal detectors. Once these amendments are taken, remove all opposition. This is a SEIU 121 RN bill. The nurses who I've supported and who supported this particular measure is the right step to go to making sure that our hospitals are safe. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 55, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 142, AB 3034 by Assemblymember Lowe. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3034 by Assemblymember Lowe and applicable to public post-secondary education.
Assemblymember Lowe, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker and colleagues, for allowing me to present AB 3034, which provides free tuition for individuals that serve at least 1 year of service for the California Conservation Corps. I ask my colleagues on the other side of the aisle for their full-throated support. This receives bipartisan support, and I respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Lowe. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 55, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 143, Assembly Bill 3093 by Assemblymember Ward. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3093 by Assemblymember Ward and others and applicable to land use.
Mr. Ward, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 3093 is back on concurrence. Amendments in the Senate require HCD to provide additional guidance to regional and local governments, make technical amendments in response to feedback from HCD, and address chaptering out issues. Respectfully ask for your aye vote on concurrence.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 46, noes 1. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 144, Assembly Bill 3190 by Mr. Haney. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3190 by Assemblymember Haney and others and applicable to public works.
Mr. Haney, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 3190 is back for concurrence. It is the Affordable Housing Fair Pay Act. Senate amendments align operative dates with the dates set forth in AB 3160 and respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Haney. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 51, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. We're going to drop down to third reading, Assembly third reading. File item 154, AB 2032 by Assemblymember Jim Patterson. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2032 by Assemblymember Jim Patterson and others and applicable to tribal gaming and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Assemblymember Patterson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2032 ratifies the Tribal State Gaming Compact between California and the Big Sandy Rancheria of Western Mono Indians in Fresno County. The Big Sandy Rancheria of Western Mono Indians is a federally recognized tribe with a rich history in California's Central Valley. The tribe is located on trust land known as the Big Sandy Rancheria. That is in Auberry, approximately 36 miles northeast of Fresno in the Sierra Nevadas. The tribe's trust lands include not only the rancheria itself, but also additional parcels of land east of Fresno. Big Sandy is organized under a constitutional form of government, which empowers a 5-member tribal council to manage the tribe affairs and provide for its 600-plus members. The tribe has worked for several years to secure a tribal state gaming compact with the state. The tribe views the ratification of the compact as a pivotal moment that can bring substantial benefits to its members and the surrounding community. I am pleased to present this compact to you, and I ask that you give it your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Patterson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 58, noes 0 on the urgency. Ayes 58, noes 0 on the measure. Measure passes. Going now to Senate third reading. File item 214, SB 1504. Senator Stern, Senator Stern by Mr. Lowenthal. The clerk will read.
Senate Bill 1504 by Senator Stern and others, an act relating to social media platforms.
Mr. Lowenthal, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. SB 1504 is simply a social media customer service bill to protect the youngest users from cyberbullying. This bill does not require any content to be removed, leaving that the determination of the platforms in accordance with their own terms of service. This bill makes three distinct changes to existing law. First, it requires the cyberbullying reporting mechanism to be prominently shown on the platform. Second, it requires a written confirmation of the receipt of the report within 36 hours and a final determination within 30 days. And third, even though anyone can report, it only allows parents, guardians, school administrators that submit a report of cyberbullying to enforce the law along with public prosecutors. This bill has received no votes and has bipartisan support. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Lowenthal. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 54, no 0. Measure passes. Members, we have gone through the concurrence file once, and I'm prepared to go back again. There are still members missing who were missing the first time. So I'm going to give them a minute, maybe 30 seconds to come back. We're going to do it in order. I'm going to do it in file order. I don't want to call out the particular members, but I could, but I won't do that. I'm going to wait for 1 minute, and then we will maybe be passing temporarily on some items again. We're going to do them in file order. I'm sorry? Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to pass temporarily on file item number 7. We're going to pass temporarily on file item number 9. We're going to pass temporarily on item number 11. We're going to pass temporarily on file item number 12. We're going to pass temporarily on file item 25. We're passing temporarily on file item 39. Moving to file item 52, AB 2446. We did that, never mind. Okay, now we're going to move to file item 54, AB 2483 by Mr. Ting. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2483 by Assemblymember Ting, an act relating to post-conviction proceedings.
Mr. Ting, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2043 is back on concurrence. The bill will implement the Convention on the Revision of the Penal Code's recommendations to set statewide guidelines ensuring efficient and equitable resentencing procedures. Respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 48, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 55, AB 2531 by Mr. Bryan. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2531 by Assemblymember Bryan, an act relating to law enforcement.
Mr. Bryan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. AB 2531 is back on concurrence. Our current in-custody death reporting doesn't include youth when they die in our juvenile justice facilities. We've seen a number of young people die due to fatal overdoses and other incidents in facilities across Los Angeles. Barry J. Nordhoff facility in particular. This bill will align us with federal standards and make sure we're capturing all in-custody deaths. It's had bipartisan support. Respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 57, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 56, AB 2574 by Mr. Valencia. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2574 by Assemblymember Valencia and others, enact relating to alcohol and drug programs.
Mr. Valencia, you are recognized.
Thank you, and buenas tardes, Mr. Speaker and members. AB 2574 is back on concurrence. Senate amendments were technical and addressed chaptering issues. I respectfully ask for a yes vote. Gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Valencia. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 55, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 57, AB 2664 by Mr. Bryan. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2664 by Assemblymember Bryan, enact relating to foster youth.
Mr. Bryan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. This bill is good for foster youth and their families. It left the Senate with 39 votes last night. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving down to file item 65, AB 3145 by Mr. Bryan. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3145 by Assemblymember Bryan and others, enact relating to child welfare.
Mr. Bryan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and colleagues. This bill is also good for foster youth and their families, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it. We had an incident in LA County recently where a young child lost their life. Essentially, we were requiring parents to take reunification classes and other kinds of parenting classes, but we're not monitoring the efficacy of those classes, not demonstrating whether they work, not keeping any data at all. This starts that data collection process. It's something that I've been working on all year in collaboration with my colleague from Santa Barbara, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Bryan. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 53, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 78, AB 2401 by Mr. Ting. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2401 by Assemblymember Ting and others, enact relating to air pollution.
Mr. Ting, you are recognized.
Mr. Speaker, AB 2401 is back on concurrence. The bill has passed both houses with bipartisan support and no votes. Respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll. Tally the votes. Ayes 50, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 92, AB 3251 by Mr. Berman. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3251 by Assemblymember Berman and others, enact relating to professions and vocations.
Mr. Berman, you are recognized. Is this another sunset, Mr. Berman?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hope it's the last. Not the last sunset, to my colleague from Oakland, but the last sunset bill, to be clear. AB 3251 is the sunset extension bill for the Board of Accountancy, which is set to expire on January 1st. And just like yesterday's bills, that would be bad. Senate amendments strengthen the board's oversight over accounting firms, and I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Berman. Seeing and hearing no further debate and trying to prevent something bad, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 57, no 0. We prevented something bad. Moving to file item 95, AB 347 by Mr. Ting. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 347 by Assemblymember Ting and others, an act relating to consumer protection.
Mr. Ting, you are recognized.
Thank you very much. AB 347 is back on concurrence. The bill was amended in the Senate to require the Department of Toxic Substance Control enforce existing laws regulating the use of PFAS chemicals. Respectfully ask for aye vote.
Thank you, Mr. Ting. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes. Whoa, wait, don't, let's not close the roll. Let's leave the roll open. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Oh yeah, I was supposed to vote. There we go. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 42, noes 10. Senate amendments are concurred in. Once again, pass temporarily on file item 107. Pass temporarily on file item 112. Pass and retain on file item 118. Pass. Assemblymember Wilson, item 124, AB 2319. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2319 by Assemblymember Wilson and others, an act relating to maternal health.
Assemblymember Wilson, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2319 is back on concurrence. This is a Black Caucus priority bill that aims to reduce the alarming and disproportionate maternal mortality rate of Black women and other pregnant persons of color by ensuring successful implementation of SB 464, the California Dignity in Pregnancy and Childbirth Act of 2019. These amendments taken in the Senate establish a penalty structure for the Attorney General's office and clarifies who is required to take that training. With that, I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Wilson. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 45, noes 5. Senate amendments are concurred in. Now, members, we've gone through the concurrence items a couple of times now. There's a couple authors that are not in the room. So what did we miss one? I thought we didn't miss one, but let's go back for a second. My apologies. Which file item? Item 60. Okay, let's go back. I missed that. My apologies. File item 60, AB 2843 by Assemblymember Petrie Norris. Your attention, please. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2843 by Assemblymember Petrie Norris and others, an act relating to healthcare coverage.
Assemblymember Petrie Norris, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, AB 2843 is back from the Senate on concurrence. This bill will prohibit insurers from charging rape survivors for medical services and care related to their assault. After amendments taken in the Senate, the bill received 39 votes on the Senate floor yesterday. Would appreciate your aye vote on concurrence.
Thank you, Assemblymember Petrie Norris. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. We'll close the roll, tally the votes. Ayes 49, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Looks like we're going to move back in file order to file item number 4, AB 1936, Assemblymember Cervantes by Mr. Mainshine. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1936 by Assemblymember Cervantes and others, an act relating to healthcare coverage.
Mr. Mainshine, you are recognized.
I am pleased to present Assembly Bill 1936 on behalf of Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes, which is back for concurrence. It will update current law regarding the requirements on when screening for mental health conditions during pregnancy and postpartum should be performed. Amendments taken in the Senate at the request of the administration change the screening requirements of the MMH program. Thank you, colleagues, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote on concurrence and Senate amendments. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mainshine. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 56, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Looks like one of our authors is now available to present a couple of bills. So we're moving to file item 107, AB 1905 by Assemblymember Addis. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1905 by Assemblymember Addis and others, an act relating to public post-secondary education.
Assemblymember Addis, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present AB 1905 that has no opposition and has received bipartisan support. I respectfully request your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Addis. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 56, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 109, AB 1971 by Assemblymember Addis. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 1971 by Assemblymember Addis, an act relating to personal information.
Assemblymember Addis, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 1971 is back on concurrence where it received unanimous bipartisan support. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Addis. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes, ayes 57, noes 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item 112, AB 2022 by Assemblymember Addis. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2022 by Assemblymember Addis and others, an act relating to mobile home parks.
Thank you,
Assemblymember Addis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. AB 2022 is back on concurrence, and I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Addis. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the vote. Whoa, yeah. Reopen the roll. Open the roll. All those vote. Oh, it was open. Okay, thank you. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 41, noes 10. Senate amendments are concurred in. Okay. Moving to file item 131, AB 2537 by Assemblymember Addis. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2537 by Assemblymember Addis and others, an act relating to offshore wind energy development and making an appropriation therefore.
Assemblymember Addis, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to present AB 2537, the Community Engagement in Offshore Wind Energy Act, which is backed on concurrence. It's a Central Coast Caucus priority bill, has no opposition, has received bipartisan support, and I respectfully request your aye vote.
Thank you, Assemblymember Addis. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who All those vote who desire to vote. This is a 54 vote bill, members. Fifty-four vote bill, members. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 55, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Okay. We're going back for the third time now to file item number 7, AB 2508 by Mr. McCarty. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2508 by Assemblymember McCarty and others, enacting to student financial aid.
Mr. McCarty, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what do they call the third time?
Late.
A charm.
Okay, as you wish.
Yes, thank you. Ask for concurrence on this measure to expand college opportunity for our foster youth in California. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 59, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item number 9, AB 3131 by Assemblymember McCarty. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 3131 by Assemblymember McCarty and others, enacting career technical education.
Mr. McCarty, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is part of our Black Caucus reparations package, looking to expand career education for Black students throughout California. Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 63, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item number 11, AB 2565 by Mr. McCarty. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2565 by Assemblymember McCarty, enacting school facilities.
Mr. McCarty, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ask for concurrence on this measure to focus on increased safety of our schools by expanding opportunities to have interior locks on doors. Ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Seeing and hearing no further debate, clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes, ayes 60, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. File item number 12, AB 2106 by Mr. McCarty. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2106 by Assemblymember McCarty, enacting probation.
Mr. McCarty, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Last but not least, ask for concurrence on this measure to help ensure successful completion of drug treatment programs for individuals on probation and parole. Ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCarty. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes, ayes 59, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Moving to file item number 6, AB 2830 by Speaker Rivas. The clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 2830 by Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas, enacting the foster care.
Speaker Rivas, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. So this legislation seeks to simplify the resource family approval process for the placement of children in foster care. Respectfully ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Seeing and hearing no further debate, the clerk will open the roll. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes, ayes 64, no 0. Senate amendments are concurred in. Members, just a note, the quorum call will be in place, okay? But we are now going to be moving to a vote on the consent calendar. Does any member wish to remove an item from the consent calendar? Seeing and hearing none, the clerk will read the second-day consent calendar.
House Resolution 129 by Assemblymember Barrow Kahan relative to the East Bay Regional Park District's 90th anniversary.
The clerk will open the roll on the consent calendar. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. All those vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll and tally the votes. Ayes 63, no 0. The consent calendar is adopted. Members, as I mentioned, the quorum call is still in place. We will be moving to adjournments in memory. So I ask that you please give your respectful attention to those who were granted prior permission to speak on an adjournment in memory. If you are having a conversation, please take it off the floor. The quorum call is in place. Mr. Gabriel, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Are you going to? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to request that we adjourn today in the memory of Craig Scott Simon, who passed away on August 10th at the age of 71. I first got to know Craig through his daughter, Rebecca, who was a dear friend of mine at UC Berkeley. But over the years, Craig and I developed our own friendship, and I am among many Californians who feel blessed to have been in his orbit. Craig was truly a remarkable human being, brilliant, generous, energetic, funny, and deeply kind. He told amazing stories and ridiculous jokes, loved parties and loud rap music, and was a constant source of smiles and laughter. He was fun and fun to be around. Craig was also a brilliant litigator who became one of the most prominent and admired insurance subrogation attorneys in the country. After graduating from UCLA and Loyola Law School, he joined the law firm of Berger Kahn, working his way up from law clerk to partner and eventually managing partner of the entire firm. As a litigator, his skills were legendary. Among his many accolades, Craig was recognized as one of the top 100 attorneys in California by the Daily Journal and was awarded the prestigious California Lawyer of the Year award for his work on the Woolsey Fire settlement in 2021. During that litigation, he was designated by the court as the Subro King, and a king he was. Despite his tremendous personal success, Craig remained kind and generous, always looking to help others. As his son-in-law Jarrett recalls, Craig was a deeply generous human who loved to help others in need. When he saw someone, even a stranger who was struggling in life, he helped them in unimaginably generous ways. Rebecca and Jarrett, Hannah and Jeff, and David and Anna, and his 3 grandchildren. One of my last conversations with Craig was during a visit to his beach house in Laguna Beach, which he lovingly referred to as his beach shack. Inspired by the sweeping ocean views, I prodded him about his career and all its rewards, but he kept turning the conversation back to his family, to our community, and to me, constantly asking how he could help. I will always remember how content he was that day, at the very pinnacle of his profession, in his happy place, and full of gratitude for his life, his family, and his abundant blessings. Craig was an exceptional Californian who touched many in our state with his humor, his intellect, his generosity, and his compassion. His legacy is one of goodness, and his memory will be a blessing for his family, the legal profession, his community, and our state. I feel lucky to have called Craig Simon a friend, and I respectfully request that we adjourn today in his memory.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Assemblymember Hart, you are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Speaker and members. I rise to adjourn in the memory of Vivian Payos of Santa Barbara. Vivian was born to Peter and Christine Phyllis in Holyoke, Massachusetts in 1930 during the Great Depression. Her parents were Greek immigrants, and they lived a humble but fulfilling life, adhering to the Greek traditions that they brought with them across the Atlantic. Vivian faithfully adhered to these traditions until her passion for adventure pulled her away from her small town life. At the age of 23, Vivian left Holyoke and pushed her way into the New York office of Pan Am, where she persuaded them to hire her as a stewardess, despite the fact that they were not hiring at the time. Vivian traveled the world, visited her Greek homeland and the great countries of Europe and Asia. In Constantinople, she was received by the Metropolitan, the Greek version of the Pope, for tea. Vivian moved to San Francisco, where she met her late husband, Michael Pejos, while he attended school at UC Berkeley. After a quick courtship, they moved to Santa Barbara, where she raised her children, Maria and Theo. Vivian was an energetic woman with a cutting wit and a smile that could light up a room. Her authentic culinary dishes were displayed at the Santa Barbara Greek Festival and while hosting many guests in my neighborhood over the years at 2121 Chapala Street. Vivian and her late husband were members of the Santa Barbara Greek Orthodox Church for over 60 years. Vivian dedicated her life to her church community, where she served as a secretary. She also published a successful Greek cookbook and was an inspiration to many. Vivian Payos of Santa Barbara died peacefully in her sleep the morning of August 27th with her family by her side. I respectfully request that the Assembly adjourn in the memory of Vivian Payos.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Mr. Alvarez, you are recognized for your adjournment memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Respectfully asking that we adjourn in memory of San Diego Police Officer Austin Machitar, a constituent of mine in the 80th District. I want to thank my colleagues for standing with me who also represent the city of San Diego, America's finest. Officer Machitar tragically lost his life in the line of duty during a vehicle pursuit in San Diego a few days ago on the evening of August 26th, 2024. He was just 30 years old. Officer Machitar was a Chula Vista resident, one of the communities I represent. He was a proud Mustang from Otay Ranch High School before he joined the San Diego Police Department. He was known for having an infectious smile by his colleagues. And in the words of San Diego Police Chief Scott Wall, he's the kind of guy you wanted on your team. In 2019, Officer Machitar joined the San Diego Police Department and was assigned to the patrol at San Diego SDPD's Northern Division, the northern part of the city, quickly becoming a part of the unbreakable law enforcement family. In his nearly 6 years of service, Officer Machitar served as a field training officer and was known for being heavily involved in the recruitment process of new officers for the department. He set a perfect example for what it meant to be a true protector of the San Diego community. Austin leaves behind his loving parents and sister who will carry on his legacy. The San Diego community is mourning. We are hearing from everyone in San Diego as they mourn the passing of Officer Machitar. He died a hero in the eyes of many. He will forever be remembered by the community he swore to protect, and he did so well for almost 6 years. May he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Alvarez. Moving to Assemblymember Nguyen. You are recognized for your adjournment in memory.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I rise today and ask that we adjourn in memory of Kabita Daniel Gashau, whose remarkable life touched many. Born on June 10th, 1948 in Ethiopia, Kabita was the eldest son of 10. His journey led him to Fresno State University, where he studied agricultural and animal science with plans to return to Ethiopia and work alongside his father in dairy farming. His career was significant in the agricultural sector. He worked at Wolfson Land and Cattle Company, founded Axum Commodities, Inc., and served as an agricultural economist with the California Department of Food and Agriculture. At the Morning Star Company, he made remarkable impacts on global agricultural practices, particularly in tomato processing. Cabeda was deeply committed to his community. He served as president of the Ethiopian Community Center in Sacramento and was a board member of the Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution. His dedication extended to his homeland, striving to advance agricultural development in Ethiopia despite facing severe political and economic challenges. Cabeda passed away suddenly on August 25th, 2024 in Ethiopia. His contributions to both his adopted and native communities, his dedication to agricultural development, and his leadership in various organizations are a testament to his lasting impact. As we adjourn today, joined by his wife, daughter, son, and grandchildren up in the gallery, let us remember Cabeda Daniel Gashau with gratitude and respect for his tireless effort and the lasting legacy he leaves behind. Thank you.
Thank you, Assemblymember Nguyen. Our condolences to the family. Members, please bring the names to the desk to be printed in the journal. All requests to adjourn in memory will be deemed read and printed in the journal. Session schedule is as follows. Tomorrow, Friday, August 30th, floor session at 10 a.m. I have no idea how many bills we heard today, but we did a lot of, oh wait, apparently somebody knows. Okay, so the majority leader would like to tell us what we accomplished today.
We accomplished a lot today. Okay. Members, today we passed 25 Senate bills, 131 Assembly bills are headed to the governor's desk. Great work today. Please, let's show up on time tomorrow at 10. Does everybody hear this? 10 a.m., not 10:30. Thank you very much. And I'm looking for a few members. I need to talk to them. There's some people that do not have a floor manager in the Senate. So I need some help.
Thank you, Assemblymember Aguiar-Curry. We had projected to finish around 7 tonight. We are bettering that by almost an hour. I appreciate when we got down to work, everybody going through this with me. Thank you. We can be pretty darned efficient when we all get to it. All other items remaining will be passed and retained. All motions shall be continued. Seeing and hearing no further business, I'm ready to entertain a motion to adjourn. Ms. Aguiar-Curry moves. Mr. Joe Patterson seconds that this House stands adjourned until tomorrow, Friday, August 30th at 10 a.m. The quorum call is lifted and the House is adjourned. We will entertain vote changes here and up at the podium. So, thank you.
You deserve a rest.
All right, ready? All right, vote, Diane Dixon, vote change, Assembly Bill 3275 from yes to not voting.
Vote change, Assemblymember Dixon, Assembly Bill 3275, aye to not voting.
Vote change as Senate Bill 1220 from yes to not voting.
Vote change, Assemblymember Dixon, Senate Bill 1220, aye to not voting.
Vote change.
On this month, we have the rise of the Phoenix, George Jackson. From the day that we landed from Arthur Ashe, when the Wimbledon game birthed the Henrietta Lacks. Second, J Baldwin born with the fire next time. 1964 Jersey race, struggle is sublime. Speech of Frederick Douglass, no struggle is no progress. Florida gets rid of slavery, it was grotesque. Emancipation Day for the Black Creek Nation. Louis Armstrong born the great trumpet sensation. Andrew Johnson denied the freedmen. Confiscation Act tried to patch the bleeding. Cali House and the ex-slave pension. North Pole Trailblazer Matthew Hickson. Whitney Houston turned the Star Spangled Out. Isaac Hayes with the stars, no doubt. Watts rebelled, Black Chicago caught hell with the infamous riot tales. As we say, we go black, 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 black. Here we go, black, 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 black. Come on, say black. General Minnie Lee Jones, Ernest just fertility, chromosome, Julian Bond, activist, politician, Dorothy West were words with precision, Marcus Garvey, United, Rayford Johnson, all around athletes, lunch counter sit-ins, Oklahoma City, Jamestown, home of the first lace pixie, Melvin Van Peebles, sweet bag, Huey P. Newton, keeping it black, Houston Revolution, Bayard Rustin, Althea Gibson, Mr. Johnson got NASA buzzing, MLK, the great last speech, Marshall Washington with the protest speech, Wendell Scott, Colonel Blueford, Kenny Washington, NFL word. When we talking about to turn it out. When we talking about 1 2 1 2, talk about black. Here we go, y'all. Black. Here we go. Black. Here we go, y'all. Black. This is for the people. This is for the ones who's trying to stop the evil. Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Leading with lineage.
California Reparations Task Force hearings.
Final report recommendations.
California Freedmen Affairs Agency, CAFA office.
The Fund for Reparations and Reparative Justice.
Free the land, eminent domain, unjust property taking return.
And in the mass media group was there. Reparations Now, the documentary where it all began.
Released Juneteenth, 2023.
Now listen, if you can't handle the TR rules, don't tune in.
Available to watch on Tubi TV and other streaming outlets. As always, thank you for the support. Please like, share, and subscribe to your #1 source for reparations and news. Until next time, peace and reparations.